What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. It's official. The Mercedes will be getting a Chevy V8. Right now I am kind of in between an LQ4 and an LM7. I don't really care which one of those it's going to be, 5.7 or the 6.0. The 5.7 is a little bit cheaper, so I might just go that route. And then if I end up boosting it or whatever and blowing it up, I could always swap between the two, because I believe the blocks are all the same, so it's not a big deal to just drop a different one in there. And they're not that expensive. I think the LQ4 is like $700-800 versus the LM, which is like $400-500, somewhere around there. So, but I got one of the more expensive parts for the build. As I said in the last video, I was gonna go pick up a trans, which I did. I got a T56. I believe it's out of an old Camaro or something like that. So I will need a new front plate for it, which is basically just this little plate right here to convert it from mounting to an LT engine, which was in the older Camaros, whatever, Firebirds, to be able to mount it to a newer LS version. So I believe I looked into it. It's like $400 for the plate, bell housing, everything you need, the input shaft to convert it. So I'm just gonna go that route. But I would like to start taking this thing apart. I'm gonna have to obviously remove the fenders, the front, like the radiators, all this good stuff here. Pull pretty much everything out in the engine bay. So motor, all the vacuum, whatever, all that crap needs to come out. Pretty much most of this stuff is just gonna get thrown away. I'm probably gonna keep the engine since it's a good running engine. Like I said, the engine sat for pretty much the last 9-10 years or so, and it's the diesel sat, everything. Nobody drove this car anywhere. I did start it once every like 2-3 years or something like that, but pretty much you throw a battery on this thing and it just starts right up, like no issues whatsoever. So I'm gonna keep the engine. Maybe I'll throw it in something down the line. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna start tearing this thing apart. It's a little bit old and rusty. This fender obviously is the worst part in the whole car. So yeah, I'm just gonna try to remove that, remove everything in the bay, like I said. But I have about an hour or so right now before I gotta run out to start taking it apart. Not sure if I'm gonna come back today to continue or not. I would like to, so probably will. But yeah, let's get started here. Shouldn't be too bad. I kind of tore it apart a while back when I was gonna build it, but thank God I didn't do it then, because I wouldn't have done it right. So I'm just gonna get started here, and you guys can watch. Let's do it. So unfortunately, here in some spots on the body, they decided to use Phillips head bolts, which is not a great idea if you're trying to take them off once the car's 30 years old. Oh, there it goes. screws. Very nice. Look how clean it looks now. Very nice. Alright guys, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little turbo in here. It's actually a pretty decent size for a factory turbo. One of the bigger ones that I've seen at least. But this is a 4-cylinder, 5-cylinder and diesel compared to all the 4-cylinder turbos that I've seen. So that makes a little bit of sense. But either way, it's a nice little unit. Little intake tube. Let's see the shaft plate on here. This turbo feels like a brand new turbo. That is pretty cool. That's something that's a 30-year-old turbo. I'm sure nobody has ever replaced it or anything. It's just, there's absolutely no play in it whatsoever. Spins very, very good. That's impressive. These things are known to be just dumb reliable. However, now it's still going to be a pretty reliable engine in here. Chevy V8, they're pretty good engines, so got no complaints. This is going to be a good little engine in some other vehicle, maybe. Also, I'm pretty impressed I haven't broken a single bolt or anything this whole time. Let's hope I keep that up. This one looks a little bit rusty. There's the first one. Yeah, it is pretty damn nice. Sway bars all the way up here, that's interesting. I said I'll be back, and I'm back. Yeah, I took care of whatever I had to do here, so now I'm gonna be working on getting this engine out. I think that's the next move. So this is absolutely crazy to me, but I felt the turbo, and there's zero shaft play, which is absolutely insane. This thing is like 35 years old. It's got 120 something thousand miles, so not crazy high mileage, but still, the turbo is mint. Like, it's the most solid turbo I've ever felt, to be honest. So that's impressive. But yeah, I'm gonna work on getting the engine out. I think it's gonna involve obviously I'm gonna have to disconnect the shifter linkage, and then just miscellaneous vacuum hoses mostly on this thing. There's very few wires that go to the engine, but get all that disconnected, throttle linkage taken off, and then it'll be ready to come out. Hopefully by the end of the night I'll have this out. If not a big deal. We can come back a different day, finish the teardown. So let's get rolling here. All right, guys. So I pulled everything under the engine bay. Like in the engine bay, I got all the wires off the engine. I got all the vacuum lines disconnected, and all the whatever oil coolers, all that stuff. That's all out. So now I just have to disconnect the stuff off the trans. Still got to pull the big positive wire off the starter. The speedometer reading, I think this is driven by cable, so I got to take that off the trans. And there's a couple of other plugs that go into the trans that I got to pull out. But I looked under there. This transmission is massive. Like, it is. I think it's way bigger than the T56. So the T56 should fit no issues. I don't think there should be anything. If there is, I'll be very surprised. And that's all I got to say. So let's get to pulling this trans out.
Zip tie, every nut, every bolt, every hunk of cement. I'm looking short cement.
Yes.
Alright, the wheel. Hammer. I need to get it straightened out.
Oh, there's something here.
Look, wire? Oh, yeah, got it. So hold on.
I'm bending my front end.
Hold on, man. Move camera. Just in case.
Just in case I die, so I don't catch it on video.
No.
All right, guys. So big shout out to my buddy Corey. He came by last night and helped me pull the engine out. I would not have been able to do it alone. It's just a huge engine and transmission. I did use a 0 gauge power cable to lift the trans over that the rad support right there. So you gotta do what you gotta do. Nice big tunnel. I think it should be enough room for the T56 in there. I'm a little worried about the shifter because so pretty much the transmission doesn't have a bell housing on it, so I'm hoping that kind of extends it out a little longer. It will, but I'm hoping it'll be long enough to so that the shifter ends up in the right spot in the car. So it looks like the plan's gonna be to, well, like I said, get rid of this shift box and swap it over to a rack and pinion setup that's just gonna go down here. Probably gonna end up cutting this little cross member out and just fabricating my own unit to fit the LS and also fit the rack and pinion on it. I know the one guy that did an LS swap in one of these, he ended up using the Mustang 2, which I think is like maybe late 70s, early 80s. I believe he just used the whole front suspension out of that. So that's what I might end up having to do. So right now, I got a little bit of work to do. I do want to make a tubular front rad support for this because this one's all messed up. This part here from pretty much this piece here all the way to over here was cut and swapped out whenever it was hit in an accident. So it's all rusty and crappy, and it's rusting down here pretty well. So I mean, this all just has to go. But yeah, I was thinking about just cutting this out down here because I don't need this anymore. This is just to hang the radiator, but I'm going to be running an aluminum one, so I'm going to just make my own mounts for that too. And then once I get rid of that, I was thinking about just getting rid of this little bar that goes across and fabricating something to bolt on. That way I could just roll the LS back in there in the trans, so that should be a little easier on me than having to lift it, you know, over this rad support, tilt it real hard and go down kind of like this engine came out. So I got a big mess to clean up here. This is what our little tool cart looks like after a fun day at the shop. Just a big mess. So I gotta clean up all that, clean up this big oil spill. So I gotta clean all that up, and then I think I'm gonna call it a day. It's Sunday, so I don't want to be at the shop all day. So yeah, there it is. The motor's pulled. It's not going back in there, I'll tell you that much. I'm not putting that thing back in. So it's gonna be an LS, and it's gonna be a fun little car, dude. I'm so pumped for this thing. It's gonna be one of a kind. All right, guys, so that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoy what you see here, if you want to see this old Mercedes get a Chevy V8 and this T56 manual trans, then make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the videos, and leave me a comment if you got any advice for the swap. I do have one person that's done the swap that's willing to help me out, kind of guide me in the right direction. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. Don't do drugs. See ya.